What is up? Trizzle here, tuning in for another war recap. What's going on, guys? Just bringing you guys another war recap. We're paired against another clan called Pakistan, as you can see. Pretty decent war. Ended up having a fairly close start at the beginning, but it ended up being almost a perfect war. I came close, but no cigar. So, I'm just going to go ahead and get into the attacks. I believe on this one, nothing too special, just a 81%. I'm a little bit mad at myself. I mean, I probably should have 3-starred this base, but I had to kind of rush my attack, so I digress. Just pretty much a queen walk into a bowler, a mass bowler. Nothing too special. If you guys ever see this particular base, guys, you're going to want to follow this particular, I guess, strategy. It's more ideal to come in from the corner with your queen walk, come down to the south, take out the eagle, and then start your bowlers or bowlers and valks on the left. And trying to see, oh yeah, it was the dragon. That pesky dragon killed the raid. I think if that dragon, if I had a double poison, it probably would have gone another way. But it was a pretty strong 2-star. Here we have my Town Hall 9.5 taking out a Max 9. Nothing too special. Just gonna do a little bowler witch, which I've been kind of going back and forth. I'm okay with using this as a bully attack. You know, if you're attacking down, you should be able to clear pretty much any, max Town Hall 9. However, I'm not such a big fan on it. Maybe it's because my heroes aren't quite max yet, and I don't have the full 240 camp space. That does make quite a bit of difference. But I kind of feel that this raid wasn't as strong. At least as strong as I expected it to be. I expected there to be a bunch of bowlers left, a bunch of stuff up, but ended up only having like the queen and 3 witches, which is still a good big chunk of army space, but yeah, could have just shattered it. Alright, so this was my 8.5 taken out their number 3. I don't know what this guy was thinking, but he left a bunch of open holes in his base. There's a hole right there next to the town hall, a hole next to the archer queen. I don't know if it's maybe like a Town Hall 10 base, or a base that like maybe is in construction somehow. I'm not sure, but I do know that he definitely didn't pay attention because there were huge holes and gaps in that base. So pretty much just went ahead and took advantage of it, did the lure, and then from there just an easy penta. My baby heroes on this account aren't really going to be able to make too much of a big carve into the base, but I was able to take out the archer queen, and from there I just did a pretty standard penta attack. I did a variation on the hound deployment for the 5th hound, just because I realized that the core was kind of chewing up the troops that I had brought. By the end of it, I believe I still had a hound, 2 spare, if not 2, so I think I was just kind of panicking. So pretty much easy 3-star. Can't really brag too much, being that I don't know what that guy was thinking, but check your base. It's pretty easy stuff. I mean, having an unlorable clan castle is crucial. It's a big step in having a strong war base. Alright, so here we've got, this is a bully attack. I don't think we really need to see that. A Town Hall 11 beating up on a Town Hall 9. But maybe we can get into some Geo taking this base out. You know what happened? I think this was an overwrite. I think somebody else had 3-starred this base initially. and then Geo came over him and just beat it in a faster time. So, good job, Geo. Comes in with strong Penta, takes out the AQ. Don't forget, guys, you know, when you're doing your I thought that was the AQ. I take that back. I just realized that the AQ didn't go down. He took out the Clan Castle, but oddly enough, this raid is still OP. Is able to, with air expos, still wreck the base. 2 hounds alive. Pup takes out the queen. And I forgot he had a bunch of swagloons. At the end of the war, I was trying to get my attacks done, crunch time, but didn't realize that he had such a strong raid. And that's probably why his attack overwrote the other attack, because I believe, I don't know if it was Homewrecker hit this. I'll have to check the log and see. I don't know if Homewrecker was in this war. Oh, he was. Alright, so here we've got Homewrecker and his second Town Hall 9, second account, taking out their number 6, using a little Shattered Lalo, one of our favorites, staple here on the clan. It starts with mastering Penta, and once you've got that down pat, you know, you graduate and move on up to Shattered, which will pretty much take care of, I would say, about 95% of all bases that you'll encounter in Town Hall 9 War at the standard level. I know CWL type stuff, and, you know, Elite Clan War stuff, you'll probably face a little bit more, you know, current meta where people are offsetting air defenses and, you know, having you know, base building techniques that are definitely built to stop the average clasher. At Town Hall 9, if you're a good attacker, you know, you definitely should be able to take out most any base. But you know, once you start getting into some of the base specific defenses to kind of counteract a certain attack, then you've either got to get a little bit creative or know what you're doing. So good job, Homewrecker, taking out their number 6. 3 stars for the Legion. Alright, so here we've got Harshit taking out their number 7. Kind of a weird base. I've seen this before. I expected there to be a Tesla farm up at the top. I guess I might have been wrong. I saw a variation on this base, and the Tesla farm was around the town hall. I guess there's a baby Tesla farm. There's they weren't max, so that's probably why. There was a Tesla farm there. Yeah, good push. Ends up taking out both air defense, Expo, and comes in adjacent to the kill squad. That's how you got to do it. By doing that, you know, he actually saves the bowlers, saves the golems, golemites, whatever was left of it, but ends up having the bowlers up for the end of the attack. Good job. Very good job. Alright, so moving on to the next attack. We've got Homewrecker taking out their number 8. And a little bit more some Shattered for you. Just coming in. Don't forget, guys, when you're doing Shattered Laloon, your raid objectives are pretty much the same with Penta. You're going to want to A, deal with the Clan Castle, B, take out the Archer Queen, and C, take out an air defense. The more that your kill squad can account for, the more ideal situation would be. Obviously, if you can take out 2 air defense or an air defense, an expo, and some other stuff, the better it is. If you have grounded expos, you know, it ends up working to your favor because then you can get away with a little bit more. This wasn't a max base, and I'm not sure why it took so long to drop the jump spell. That should have came in much earlier. I think he forgot it. But either way, was able to 3-star the base. So comes in, once you carve out the initial foray into the base with your kill squad, you're going to line up your Laloon adjacent to that chunk of the base that you just carved out. That way your loons will path correctly and you flow around the base, as opposed to your loons kind of going haywire. And that's actually one of the main strengths with Shattered Laloon, is just using that rotational deployment to process, a section of the base as you move along. In fact, it's kind of one of the key things that a lot of people don't realize, especially if you're used to just kind of spamming those loons. You've got to get on your surgical deployment. You got to practice that, because it does make a difference. So good job, Homewrecker. Taking out their number 8. Alright, so next up we've got White Light taking out their number 9. Pretty easy Town Hall 9, but we still got to clear the bases, so goes in, nothing too fancy. Thought he was going to get the easy lure, kind of miscalculates the pathing for some weird reason. So takes out the Wizard Tower and then gets the pull. From there, heroes are going to come down probably on that air defense, followed by the... Okay, I guess he didn't kill the air defense. That was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I think he just calculated the fact that the DPS, the hit points of the hounds are more than enough to, account for taking out the space. One of the things that I've made a mistake with in the past, and I've learned the hard way, is that when you're attacking weak Town Hall 9s, it can actually kind of hurt you, because let's say you use Shattered, none of your hounds can end up popping. And one of the things that won't work with Shattered is having no hounds pop, because the cleanup, the time that it takes to go through that attack is already limited as is. You kind of depend on that force multiplier at the end of the raid, and having those pups around to take out, the trash. And when you don't have any pups, it's almost like the raid is in slow motion. So very important to make sure you're selecting the right number of hounds for the amount of strength hit points that the base has, the amount of DPS that it's going to be outputting on those lava hounds. So this was my 4th account, my Town Hall 8, just taking out their pretty much a Town Hall 8. It's a max 8, just upgraded to Town Hall 9. Probably has maybe 1 or 2 new structures, but nothing by way of new defenses. So it was an easy attack, because it's basically a max Town Hall 8. Just going in with my my dragons. I will say, if you guys didn't realize, this raid, my Barbarian King was the fucking man. From the tank that he does, he's a level 5 king, so it's not like he's a max king, but he ends up tanking for an entire 30 seconds, 40 seconds an archer tower, comes in, breaks into the base, ends up getting saved by the dragon at the last second, and is on just a cunt's hair breath away from dying, and then ends up having a big impact on the raid. Which brings me to one key point that I do want to bring up to you guys. Make sure that when you're doing your Town Hall 8 Dragloon, and I pointed this out on the tutorial that I made for Town Hall 8, I'm going to try and link that below, guys, because it's very important. If you're not utilizing your Barbarian King to take advantage of his hit points, then you're not going to be really squeezing as much juice as you can out of that raid. You really want to use that king to tank if you can, and take up some of the focus of an archer tower. You want to use your king to cut the funnel in certain situations, but I can tell you that the majority of the time you're going to get more out of the king by looking for a good spot to tank. So just be careful, just be mindful of that, excuse me. Here we've got a Homewrecker using his mini to take out pretty much a max Town Hall 8. So Good job to Homewrecker Squad, as they say. Let's just go ahead and speed this up. As you guys know, once you've gotten your dragons up to level 3 at Town Hall 8 and get your loons up to level 5, it's pretty much good night to any max Town Hall 8 if you learn your objectives. Occasionally you'll encounter a weird base design that might give you a little bit of trouble, but that's where you bring in your other 1-2 punch finisher, the closer, and you're either gonna have Go Wipe or you're gonna have maybe Hogs or something like that. That's gonna be your backup for the bases that you cannot drag loon, which is very hard to find. Sometimes if it's again a good base designer, because Town Hall 8 has such a limited amount of structures, it really is a little bit harder to have a lot of impact on pathing and stuff like that, because there's just a lot less stuff to work with. So it's a little bit easier to just overwhelm the base. But there are some good bases out there. I've got a pretty solid base on our channel, and hopefully I can link to that as well if I remember. When you see a base where there's a slight gap around the core, you can almost guarantee that the dragon pathing will be a little bit funky. So good job to Dennis. This is his alternate account, Megalodon. All of the clans, best attackers, run at least 1 or 2 minis. This was somebody ended up left or he got kicked from the clan. I think he ended up doing attacks that really weren't bases that weren't assigned to him. I mean, he did 3 stars, so I can't hate on that. But we actually have a clan system that's in place that is really what allows us to be as strong as we are. So when we have new members join, it's very important that they're rowing in the same direction and they understand what the clan rules are. So if you ever get a chance to join our clan, make sure you are not attacking someone else's base, guys. Very easy way to get kicked. Other than that, we've got Bushlight going against our number 14. Still got pretty higher, well, I say pretty higher, Town Hall 8s that are still fairly upgraded. Just going in with your standard Draglow. Coming in, you want to Zapquake, the most difficult air defense, and then you're going to attack the side of the base with the remaining 2 air defense. Use your loons to target the air defense, rage into the AD. I'm a little bit of a fan of the poison spell when it comes to this particular setup, but having that haste spell does give you a little bit more latitude if you kind of use the rage to help the dragons take out the CC along with the loons, bringing the loons into the air defense. You can kind of go about it that way if you don't want to use the poison like I do. So good job, Bushlight. Ends up taking out their number 14. 3 more stars for the Legion. Alright, so next we've got Lollipop. And here's where I guess the weaker Town Halls start coming in. Pretty much very rushed on his air defense. He does a little bit of a technique approach. Not something that I would recommend, because I definitely feel that when you're using dragons and you're attacking a base, if you have a air defense that you leave off to the side like this one, it is harder to control, and this one, the pathing on it is direct, so you can target it with loons or hogs, and it'll work okay. But I don't recommend that unless it's direct pathing, guys. So if you have a situation where you're trying to deploy like this, if the pathing on it isn't direct, then there's a very good chance that your loons or whatever it is that you're bringing to take out that air defense, that it's not going to work. So on this one, was able to take it out. The air defense weren't exactly upgraded to max, so not a big deal. And then he's able to just wreck the base. Oh, out of the blue. Look at that. Some miners out of the CC. That was a little hashtag random. Okay. I'm probably not going to spend too much time on these lower bases, but I would like to at least give, the clan members their chance in the spotlight. A lot of guys that have been here for a while, sometimes they don't necessarily like the spotlight on them. Not everybody plays the game the same way, but Knight has been around for a good little while now, and while he isn't necessarily the most vocal, he gets his attacks done in 3 stars, and that's all I can ask. So good job, Knight. Here we've got Majestic, which is one of our few Town Hall 8 elders. Made a little bit of a splash when he first came to the clan. Was very active, which is key. I know that people join, they might ask, well, what do I got to do to become co, or what do I got to do to become elder? You got to earn it, plain and simple. If you aren't doing everything that the leader would normally ask you to do or do himself, then it's not even something that'll be considered. So good deployment. He's been kind of doing this weird thing with his loons where he's spraying and praying, and I told him about how you want to aim your loons at the air defense, and looks like he's listening. So good job taking out their number 17. And that's the end of the attack. 3 more stars for the Legion. And that's going to be getting close to the end of the video. I may show 1 or 2 more attacks. I wanted to get, let's see, Pencil in there. Town Hall 7. Got to show Town Hall 7 a little love, Just a little bit. Pencil's another new member. Been doing a really good job since he joined. Stays active, takes direction, which is key. So goes in, just takes out the Town Hall 7. Pretty much the same style. I don't like how late the loons were, but still got the job done. Same rules when you're approaching a Town Hall 7 as a Town Hall 7. As an 8, obviously you don't have the extra raid spell to help with the loons to help take out the air defense, so you've got to be a little bit more diligent on your deployment. Make sure you get those dragons down on the end to establish that funnel, create those bookends. That way when you deploy your dragons in the middle, they've got no direction but to go other than into the core, into the middle of the base. So good job, Pencil. Okay, yeah, so good job, Pencil, and great job, guys. We are definitely picking up some steam, getting our streak back. We went through a little bit of a rough patch, but with the channel starting to pick up a little bit of steam, plus the fact that we're streaming these wars, it's actually created a lot more excitement in the clan again, which is good to see. In any event, we're going to keep doing what we're doing, going to continue on the path that we know we all enjoy. Nothing feels better than 3-starring and beating another clan. So appreciate you guys watching. Trizzle tuning out.